Hey class, today I'll be working on histograms. It's not take us too long to get through. We're going to be looking at frequency, how to represent them, and how to read histograms. Alright, so histogram uses bars to display numerical data that has been organized into intervals. So you see, look down here, this is a histogram. Looks very similar to a bar graph, but a couple things is there are no spaces between the bars, which should be different. You know, we had talked about a bar graph and a double bar graph. You know, a bar graph, we have these, things here going up and down, different numbers. There's spaces in between. You know, a double bar graph, there's two of them right next to each other, but then there's still a space after that when you're doing each one. Okay, these are just little examples of bar graphs over here. Histogram, there's no spaces in between. There's intervals down here. They should all be equal. 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. And then we show frequency up the side, whatever we're trying to show how frequent something is right there. We should put a label on what the horizontal axis is, what the vertical axis is, and then name what the histogram is. Okay? So we need to put that in each time so we know what the graph actually represents. Okay? So I know this is example 1 to show it, but here's your chart. You know, if you're making a histogram, you have to make your table. You know, the first age group, there's 5 in the 1 through 10. So you go up to 5 on your frequency, and then you make a little rectangle. Then you go up to 8 for the 11 through 20. There's 14 there, 18, 20, 13, and 6. So making these not too difficult. I'll show you a little more on the next page. So here's a practice one that hasn't been done for us yet, so we will do this one ourselves. Let me grab the rectangle function here. Alright, so here's my chart of number of heliports in each state. 1 to 50 is 18, 51 to 100 is 14, so on and so forth. So my first one is 1 to 50. How many are there? 18. So we'll make a bar that goes up to 18, right there. 51 to 100 is 14, so 14 is right there. I'll make another one right there. They shall be about equal in width, because they're all equal in frequency down there. 101 to 150 is 8, so I go to 8. Let's say about right there. Oh, shouldn't be a gap there. I'll adjust that in a second. Let's move it over. There we go. Alright, 151 to 200 is 2. That's way down here. 2 for the next one also, so it should be the same if I can try to do that. It's pretty close. Move it up a little bit. I just want to be more accurate. Since they're equal, let's make them look equal. Yeah, that's pretty good. 251 to 300 is 3, so it's going to be a little bit higher than that. So if I grab the rectangle, let's look at right there, let's say. And 301 to 350, 111 the rest of the way. So these are going to be really tiny here. So there's a 1. And then they're all going to be the same. So I'm going to copy those so they're all equal. Okay, and then this will go right next to it. This will go right next to that. So should make these line up, obviously, but here's what it should look like if we did it right. Let me delete these now. And it looks pretty close to what I had. Okay, I probably should have made them a little wider. And then we just got to label the title. You know, this is the number of heliports in each state. That goes up there. You know, this is the number of heliports that we're talking about. And then this is the states, number of states that have them. Alright. Now let's read this data, or read a different set of data here. How many students scored at least 90 points on this test? Okay, well, here's the test scores. How many students scored in what range? So there's 4 in this range. There's 7 here, 14, 9, and 2. How many scored at least 90? Well, at least 90 means 90 or more. So that means from here on up. So there's 9 that scored in that range, and there was 2 that scored in that range. 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 students scored at least 90. This one's a little bit more work because it wants what percent of students scored 79 or lower. So 79 or lower is here in these two, which is 7 plus 4. Okay, so 11 students again, but they want to know the percentage now. So to get percent, you take the number you want, how many you want in that range, divided by the total number of students. So if I do 4 plus 7 plus 14 plus 9 plus 2, all the total students, that adds up to 36. Alright, and so to get my percent, I'm going to do 11 divided by 36, and I got to move the decimal twice. So should get around 31%. 31% of the students scored 79 or lower on the test. Okay. Down here, is it possible to tell the score of the highest test? No. You know, they got somewhere in this range. Okay. They might have gotten a 108. They might have gotten a 109. They might have gotten a 100. You just don't know where the score was because it's in a range. And then what range is the most likely score on the test? Well, the tallest one is there. 80 to 89 is the most likely. And then they're looking at two different sets of histograms next to each other. Notice these have gaps in here, but that just represents 0. That means there's none in this range for these histograms on this page. So they want to use this to see which city has a greater number of buildings at least 600 feet tall. Well, at least 600 means 600 or more. So you got all of these in Atlanta. You only got 2 here in Charlotte. So Atlanta clearly has more buildings that are taller. All right. And let's take a look at how they want us to compare the heights of the two cities. You know, most of the buildings in Atlanta are in this range, the 400, 499. That's kind of the most common. Most common in Charlotte is there too, but it's way more in Atlanta. Okay, so when they ask you to compare, you know, just talk about what the data looks like. Okay, Atlanta has most of them in that range. Charlotte has most of them in that range. Atlanta clearly has more tall buildings, okay, than Charlotte. Atlanta's a bigger city. All right, so just write some things you know. Doesn't have to be specific. Just interpret the data. All right, so there's histograms. Not too difficult. You have to make some. You have to interpret some data from some. Just make sure there's no gaps. Make sure there's intervals. Make sure we label the titles. You know what to do. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.